So in the talk I've had, last couple of days about Apple, and I want to talk a little bit about that because I found a book, and I found this book. I've actually found it 2 months ago. I finally got around to finish reading it because I got out of the library, and then my wife got sick, and then I renewed it, and I renewed it, and I renewed it. So I want to talk about this real quickly because this is something that really speaks to me because, well, I've been in the middle of this. Greetings, Dave here, DCPFX. I want to talk about this just because I did the developers conference yesterday, and this is something I read because I saw this. My daughter works in a bookstore, and I saw this there. It was out on the table, and I thought, that's interesting. Looked at the library, and they had a couple copies, so I signed one out, and I read it, and I finally powered through it on the weekend. This is chronicling Apple once Steve died. Steve died in 2011, and then Tim took over and Johnny Ive, and they got to the point of doing this for a while. And it was an interesting read because I was watching all this. And I've said before, I used to be a reseller. I was a reseller when Steve was alive and going strong. Sort of right after he died and Tim took over, they decided, let's clean house a little bit. So I lost the ability to sell, which, to be fair, after Tim took over, profits went from here per machine to here, to here, to here. Just kept whittling away at us. Those of us who were pushing through when Apple was a beleaguered company, and it was a slap in the face, but I was like, whatever. And then they came to me and said, hey, minimum sales goals are doubled now. It used to be 100,000, now it's 200,000. Okay. You gonna make it? No. Well, why not? Well, I'm not gonna try. What? Well, I'm going to bust my hump for you guys when a year from now you may get 300,000. So yeah, I'm not going to bother. So I just ran out the clock and then done. And then the day after, service came to me and said, you're still a service provider. We need you as a service provider. And that went on for another 11 years. And then just recently they decided to get rid of most service providers. At this point, trying to find an authorized warranty provider, it's going to be a little harder for people these days. Basically, the Apple stores, and maybe week 1 or 2. There's one in my area, and people are bemoaning the fact I can't help them anymore because the other guys are tools. Anyway, this was interesting to me because I was well aware of Apple and what they were doing through this whole time. So this is when we had, sorry, I got a little bit shaky right now. I just spent half an hour sanding 5 tricorder bodies. So, yeah. This was when we had after the iPhone was out, but this is like the iPhone 6, iPhone 7, iPhone X, and then, the iPad, I guess 3rd gen, and then the watch, and all these things that sort of rolled out afterwards. And it's just a very interesting read. It's definitely something, if you're an Apple boy like me, fanboy, as they say, it's something to take a look at just because, it sort of fills in the gaps. A lot of stuff I didn't know. A lot of stuff I did, but the fact that Johnny Ive went to the point where he moved in, he said he moved into an apartment and he was painting this frame and he took 11 tries to paint it. I was like, okay, OCD much? He does make some cool stuff or has made some cool stuff, but yeah, that's a little bit nuts. But neither here nor there. It's not for me to say he's worth millions and I'm not. So there you go. It's an interesting read. I found the last 100 pages, a bit of a slog to get through. It goes up, I think, to about 2019. Into 2019, it doesn't go pandemic, so it goes to about there. And if you're into it, like I say, if you're into the Apple things, you want to see exactly what's going on, it's worth a read. It's Tripp Mickle. It's called After Steve: How Apple Became a $1 trillion company and Lost Its Soul. I agree with that. Things have been very different since Steve died. Steve actually treated the channel pretty well, but yeah. So anyway, that's just a quick recommendation for you if you're into reading things like this. It's something worth checking out. I'm sure your local library has it. It came out years ago. It doesn't tell me on here when it came out. Also, I'm not wearing my glasses, so I really can't say. But it was interesting. I just want to get this video done so I can take this back to the library so that they can have it and they can use it and they can do whatever they want to do with it. So that is my recommendation for the day. Hope everyone's having a great day. We'll talk to you all later.